I want to talk to you today about the power of how. Every single person's here today, I assume, because you like work. Or you might not like work, but you want to be better at work, right? You want to improve your performance in the workplace. You want to be a better leader at work. You want to be a better leader in your organization. You want to be a better leader in your department. But you can't talk about work until we talk about this first guy I want to introduce you to. This guy right here, his name is Adam Smith. Anybody ever heard of Adam Smith? Adam Smith is known as the father of capitalism. He wrote in 1776 a book called The Wealth of Nations. What many people don't know is that Adam Smith, being the father of capitalism, was not an economist. Did you know that? But instead, he was the chair of the moral philosophy department at the University of Glasgow in Scotland. Didn't teach economics, wasn't an economist, but he taught moral philosophy at the University of Glasgow. And this is what Adam Smith said as he was developing the ideas behind capitalism. He said that human endeavor, life, and business is deeply personal and can never be segregated. He believed that as he was developing the ideas behind free market enterprise, he believed in what was called the mutual advantage for both parties. That the person giving goods away, that there had to be an advantage for the person receiving the goods. That he believed that all work was deeply personal, that you could never detach the person from the work. And that became the foundation, that became the bedrock for capitalism that we all benefit from at some way, shape, or form in our workplace today. Unfortunately, most of our workplaces today do not exude the spirit of Adam Smith. Unfortunately, they exude the spirit of another father, actually the Godfather, this guy, Vito Corleone. Because it was Vito Corleone in Godfather 1, amongst many infamous lines, where he said, it's not personal, it's strictly business. Now we think of that line, it's not personal, it's strictly business, and we chuckle, we smile. But unfortunately, the common workplace today in our culture exudes more of the spirit of Vito Corleone than it does Adam Smith. Because that line, it's not personal, it's strictly business, really in a way captures the current workforce and the current climate in a lot of our organizations and workplaces today. Do whatever it takes. Trample upon other people if it means getting to the end. Profits over people. And that really captures the idea that we have taken and detached the person from our work, that we no longer see the integration of human endeavor, business, and life. It's no longer deeply personal for us. It's strictly business. So what I want to propose today in our brief time together, I want to propose that how we do things trumps what we do. How we do things trumps what we do. Should have an outline on your tables, but the first thing that I want us to look at on that outline is I want us to contrast two different organizations. The first organization I want to call a what organization, an organization that focuses on the what. Your first fill in the blank there is a what organization is ultimately focused on the end product. An organization that's just thinking about what they're producing, the only thing that's driving them, really their ultimate focus is product, product, product. What we do, what we do, what we do. You think of innovation in a what organization. Innovation in a what organization is measured by what we do. In the last 100 years, a fascinating case study was done over the last 100 years and the free market enterprise and businesses, particularly in North America. And they showed these patterns of how all innovation was solely focused on what was being produced. And you think about it, you think about Apple. What's the pressure to get the next iPhone out as quickly as possible? But Apple really represents a lot of the businesses and organizations in North America. Product, product, product. And so innovation is measured by how quickly can we get the next product out. The next blank there, competitive edge. If innovation is measured by what we do, a competitive edge in a what organization is gained through the quality or the quantity of production. How quickly can we produce things? That's a what organization. In 1988, Nike launched the Just Do It campaign. It was named the #1 tagline in the 20th century. Nike prided itself on just do it. Nike, in many ways, was the epitome of a what organization. Do whatever it takes. Product, product, product. Produce, produce, produce. Whatever it takes to make it work. How did that work out for Nike? In 2002, what did the media break? That there were sweatshops, that there were illegal children workers, that adults, men and women, were being abused in Southeast Asia and across Latin America because of the pressure to just do it, to do whatever it takes to get the job done. It was a PR disaster, lost millions of dollars. But Nike wasn't the only one that said, just do it. That really captured the self-centeredness of the workplace culture in our day. But what if innovation didn't have to be measured by what we do and what we produce? How quickly can we get things on the table? How quickly can we get things on the market? But what if innovation and we, the leaders, business leaders here in South Florida, actually started to think about innovation by how we conduct our business, by how we do things, not just what we produce, but how we produce it. That's number 2 on your outline. A how organization, contrasted from a what organization, is ultimately focused on the means to the end product. Innovation is not measured on what we do, but innovation is measured on how we do things, how that product is actually produced, that we become the most innovative business leaders, for-profit and nonprofit leaders in South Florida and maybe in America, being innovative on how we conduct our business. I heard a fascinating story of a guy who sells donuts. He's a New York City street vendor, and he sells donuts on the side of the road. And across the street from him is his competition. And these two vendors, they sell the same donut at the same cost and relatively the same space, the same setup. But this one donut vendor in particular got the attention of the media because he was outselling his competition 4-1. And they said, we don't get it. You're selling the same donut at the same price in the same space. He said, this is what I did. And this was my how innovation. I put out a tray of change and I trust my customers to make their own change. What? And so in his innovation of how he conducted his business, he built trust. And through trust, he built loyalty with his customers. And he said, this is the guy that I want to do business with. He wasn't innovative on what he was producing. It's a donut. A donut's a donut, a donut. He had to become innovative to get the competitive edge on how he was conducting his business. The competitive edge, the next blank there, is gained through the quality of production. And what organization? Competitive edge is gained on the quantity of our production. Produce, produce, produce. Product, product, product. But we gain the competitive edge in a how organization through the quality of our production. We don't have the time to go through it today, but there have been study after study. You look at any list at the end of every year, whether it's Forbes or another magazine, the top organizations in North America right now are finding their competitive edge, not by what they produce or the speed in which they produce it, because that is a There's no blue ocean strategy in that any longer. No longer is time measured in decades. No longer are business transactions done in months or seasons, but time is of the essence. So no longer can we be innovative in what we do or in the speed of which we do it. We have to become innovative. And these are the top organizations in North America that are setting these trends. And they're saying, we are gaining more customers, achieving our goals, achieving all of our strategies by finding the competitive edge in measuring and gaining through the quality of our production. So how does this affect the future workforce? What effect will this move, this challenge to go from being a what organization to a how organization? Well, who is the future workforce? It's what we call millennials, right? Millennials are not only the future workforce, in many ways they are the current workforce. Millennials today make up 30% of the current workforce. See, we have to stop thinking of millennials as the college students that are playing video games in their parents' living room. Millennials, the oldest millennials now are in their mid-30s. We got a table of millennials right over there, right? They are the current workforce. Here's another great statistic. Not only are they 30% of the current workforce, get this, 7 years from now, just 7 years from now, in 2025, millennials will make up 75% of the workforce. 75% of the workforce will be made up by millennials in 2025. Who cares? How does a talk about how we do things have anything to do with millennials? This is why it's important. In a recent survey done of 1,000 millennials, the number one reason they chose an organization to work for was the purpose and the mission of that organization. Pay came in second, mentoring came in third. The number one reason, survey of 1,000 millennials, the reason they chose to work at an organization is they fell in love with and were captured by the purpose and mission of that organization. What does that say? They care about the how over the what. And if we don't wake up to that, those that are not millennials, that are currently leading our workplaces, we're going to find that we are not attracting the best employees. We're not attracting the best customers because we're looking at 25, 30% now, 75% in 7 years from now. Purpose over pay drives this generation. They are looking for employers and brands that represent something bigger than they're selling. Anybody go to Whole Foods? Notice, next time you're in Whole Foods, aisle after aisle after aisle of big banners on Whole Foods, not promoting what they're selling, but promoting what they've given away this past year. That is millennials in action in your face saying, this is our brand. This is who we're targeting. This is who we want to work at our organization. This is who we want shopping in our stores. How over what? Okay, so lastly, give you something practical here. How, you might be thinking, I don't know, am I a what organization or a how organization? How in the world can you determine that? I want to give you 6 things briefly that I want to challenge you. If you're a CEO, COO, department manager, or you might even be in lower middle management, and I want to challenge you. Take this to the boss. Take this to your supervisor. You need to brainstorm these 6 things, and I believe that these 6 things will tell you a lot about whether you are a what organization, just focusing on what you do, versus are we a how organization? We focus on how we do what we do. The first thing I want you to evaluate is your organization's mission and values. Now you might say our organization doesn't even have mission and values. Well, that's a problem. If millennials, the number one reason they're picking to work and shop at your organization and consume your product is purpose and mission, you need to be thinking about organization's mission and values. Think about it. Do your values and your mission statement as an organization, your purpose, what drives your organization, does it communicate that we care more about how we conduct business? We care more about people over profits. We care more about how we do things versus what we do. Evaluate it. The second thing is this that you need to evaluate: your public image, social media, Facebook, website, reviews online. 1% of millennials decide to 1% of millennials decide to consume a product based on an advertisement. 1%. Where are they going? To determine whether I'm going to shop here or there, whether I'm going to do business with you or you, what are they using? Social media, Facebook, website. 1% use mass marketing to influence their decision making in what they're going to buy and what they're going to consume. So look at your social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Does it communicate what you would want it to communicate to one of the largest growing demographics of future employers and future consumers? The third thing is this: hiring and firing procedures. How do you recruit employees? What's your onboarding process look like? This is hard. How's your firing process look like? How are people let go? And how are people let go well? Think about your hiring and firing procedures. Is it profit over people, or is it people over profit? Is it more important how we do things or what we do? Fourth thing that you need to evaluate: employee development. You notice what I said. Number one for millennials was what? Purpose and mission. 2 was pay, but 3rd was mentoring. Employees want to know, am I going to be developed in this organization? Do you just care about the bottom line, or do you care about me being developed as a person? Do you care about me being developed as a professional? How we do things. Are there days, retreats, weeks, books? Coming to Lauderdale Eat, is that by you bringing your organization here, that is part of you saying, I want to mentor my employees. I want to develop my employees. So employee development we need to be thinking about. Number 5, collaboration. Many organizations call themselves a flat organization. What is a flat organization? It's an organization that has your typical structured org chart, but lower management has direct access to upper management. Upper management's able to talk to middle management. There's a sense in which every idea matters, that your employees aren't just told what to do and when to do it, but they have buy-in. Is there a spirit of collaboration in your organization? That people are able to bring ideas, that people are able to bring fresh content, people are able to push back and maybe even think about new ideas, and are the upper level management able to hear them and receive it well? And then last but not least, number 6, service to community. Service to community. This is what we would call the triple bottom line. Every organization, every business has a bottom line, measuring the profit. But is there a triple bottom line? How are we giving back to people? How are we giving back to our community? How are we meeting the needs? We talk a lot about making South Florida a great place to live, work, and play, but what are we doing? Our organization, how much of our margin, how much of our profit, how much of our assets and resources are being put back in the city of Fort Lauderdale or the region of South Florida? I think there's 6 things that we just need to be thinking about, which might help give you a pulse. Am I a company or an organization that focuses more on what we do, the end product, or do we focus more on how we do it and how we do what we do? In closing, I want to introduce you to one more person. Her name's Martha Payne. Martha Payne is 9 years old. When this picture was taken, she was 7 years old. Now keep in mind, this is a 7-year-old. Martha Payne lives in Scotland. And she was coming to school every day, and she was not convinced that these were the healthiest options as she was sitting down in her school cafeteria. And so she wanted to do something about it. Martha Payne went home and she asked her dad, hey, can I bring your camera to school to take pictures of my lunch? He said, sure. She started taking pictures of her school lunch, and she started a blog to talk about how her meals were not nutritious. Well, what do you think the school and the school board did? Through command and control leadership, they shut the blog down. Well, about 1 million people responded. 1 million people responded. Chefs from all around the world responded. They took her story and blew wind in her sails, put pressure on the school and the school board, and what do you think they did? They reversed their policy. It took off. The blog turned into blog after blog after blog in the region, in the school district, all across the globe. Other students started chiming in, hey, I can make a difference. I can bring about change. What eventually happened is there are blogs today all around the world of students that are concerned and actually changing the course of action in their particular school by raising awareness when it comes to nutritious meals. They raise so much money because of this effort. Every year, they give close to $500,000 to malnutrition children in Malawi. You go to this girl's blog today, Martha Payne, she says, I am a change agent. I am the future workforce. And she is. But Martha Payne, what made her so remarkable is not what she did. Anybody can change the school lunch. It was how she did it. What did she do? She inspired people. She inspired change. And the one thing she used to inspire was hope. And you're sitting here today and said, I didn't come here to hear about hope. I came here to hear about strategy. Let me challenge that thinking. Hope might be the greatest strategy that you implement in your organization. To give hope through reinventing how we do things actually might give back the greatest thing that this community is missing right now. To have organizations and business that produce cultures not of fear, but produce cultures of hope to a hopeless world. As leaders in the marketplace in South Florida, I cannot think of a more worthy vision and mission than that. How inspires hope? Let's build organizations that deliver hope to a hopeless world. Thank you so much for your time today.